What's up, fight fans? Hello, and welcome back to the KJ MMA show. I'm Ryan Jarrell, as always, joined by my man, Garrett Kerman. And what an event this weekend. UFC 274. It is going to be an absolute banger of a card, top to bottom. So many great fights, and I cannot wait to dive in and talk about it all, Garrett.
Absolutely, man. I'm glad to be back with you here, breaking down some fights, putting money in your pocket, because that's what we're here for. We're here to put money in your pocket and have a great night of fights and be a profitable one as well. So I'm definitely looking forward to it. And yeah, let's get right down to it.
Well, let's start with the big one because I think anyone that's tuning in at least wants to get our thoughts on the lightweight title. Charles Oliveira, Justin Gaethje. Right now, Oliveira is about a minus 165 favorite. Gaethje is about a plus 145 dog. This is such an interesting matchup for me. Honestly, I feel like I haven't given Oliveira the credit that he deserves. Like, he's proven how good he is and the wins that he's put together. But I don't know. I just feel like there's something that's missing, and I don't know what it is. And Justin Gaethje to me is kind of like one of those guys that is just so difficult to put out. I mean, unless you're Habib, good luck standing and trading with Gaethje, and with his All-American wrestling ability. If he's able to keep this on the feet, I think it's going to spell problems for Charles Oliveira. Obviously, if he goes to the ground, Oliveira's world-class jiu-jitsu might be the difference. But this is just one of those fights where stylistically, this comes down to the style of this fight, and it could go different ways. So I'm just going to send it over to you to give me your quick analysis and pick before I tell you exactly what I think, because I'm really intrigued to hear what you have to say.
It's kind of like the same what you're seeing Charles Oliveira in his last two fights. It's kind of similar styles that he's going against. Another bruiser, another brawler, another guy that wants to stand there and trade against him. Granted, you will always want to trade against Oliveira because you don't want to take it to the mat. But I feel like it's not anything different for Oliveira. He knows it's the same thing going in. He knows Gaethje's going to come in there and take his head off. But the thing is, Gaethje also doesn't respect Oliveira. He doesn't respect his striking. He doesn't respect his game at all. From what we've seen throughout his interviews lately, he feels like he's the next one to be champion, and I feel like he's overlooking him. I haven't think highly of Oliveira during his time, but he's proven time and time again he can fight through adversity. He can fight through getting knocked down and come back and win a fight. And I could see the same thing happen here. I think he's still super tough on the feet. He's gotten a lot better with his striking. He's got a lot more power now that back at 155. He's looking good. He's much stronger. He's big for the weight class as well. And I just think he's going to pose problems. He's got the height and the reach advantage, I believe. Not too much, but slight. And he's good at keeping his distance. Where the problem lies is with the leg kicks of Gaethje and the extreme durability and attempting to walk through fire and that. But I think it's going to be a banger of a fight. I got to take Charles Oliveira here. I think he's proven time and time again that he can fight through the adversity. And if this goes to the mat at any given time, I believe it's going to be an insta sub for Oliveira because he's light years better than Gaethje on the mat. And the thing is, Oliveira could take him to the mat. He could take him down. Let's not act like Gaethje is this guy that doesn't ever get taken down. You saw what Oliveira did against Chandler, a nice, beautiful double leg takedown against a guy that's much higher level, I believe, in my opinion, wrestling than Gaethje. He's got the more accolades as well. So it's not out of the realm of possibility that Oliveira goes in, shoots a takedown, and gets him there and keeps him there. I know Gaethje is very good at scrambles, getting back to his feet, but I feel if he gets it there, he's going to keep him down there, and I think he gets the sub.
See, I always just kind of thought that once Habib retired, I just thought that the belt was going to trade hands a few times by those guys at the top of the division. I didn't think that there was one guy that was just head and shoulders better than the rest. I kind of thought they were all right around the same skill level, talent level, and all of that. And I still kind of feel that way. I'm just going to go with my gut here and say just once, even if he only holds it for one fight, Gaethje's going to have gold around his waist. But it definitely wouldn't surprise me if Oliveira goes and wins this fight. I'm not betting big money on this. I would slide either one of these guys into a DraftKings lineup because, that's what I like to do the most. I like to bet the DraftKings because I can win big, but just not lose a whole lot. But this is just one of those fights where it's such a coin flip, and it's just great for the fans because both of these guys are high level. They're exciting. They're dynamic. And whoever wins, it's going to set up a nice fight for whatever the UFC decides to do with the lightweight belt moving forward. But this is just a really, really razor thin fight for me. And again, I think we both would agree that it could go either way, correct?
Yeah, it could definitely go either way. I do like the under 2.5 rounds on -145. Definitely like the under 3.5 rounds on -220. This fight is not going to go that far. These two are going to go in there and they're going to go after it early and often. Someone's getting cracked or someone's going to get going to sleep or tapping out. Either way, someone's getting finished. I think inside probably 2 rounds.
If someone's going to sleep, it's going to be Oliveira. Gaethje's going to put him out. If someone's tapping, it's Gaethje. Oliveira's.
I don't even think, to be honest, I don't even think Gaethje would tap. I think it would just go to sleep.
Let's move to the co-main event. The women's 15-pound title champion Rose Namajunas comes in as a -200 favorite over the first ever belt holder, Carla Esparza, the 34-year-old veteran. She's a +170 dog. I love a good story. I love an underdog. I love someone that is maybe past their physical prime and has another chance to reclaim gold. I just don't see it here. I think this is Rose Namajunas all day.
You think she's past her physical prime? I think she's looked in the best shape of her life.
Esparza?
Esparza is in the best shape of her life. You look at her now compared to what she looked like when she was the first title holder. She is massively bigger. Her traps, her biceps, she's in immense shape. And I feel like she's the best that she's ever been right now, this second.
See, I'm not saying that she doesn't look great. She clearly has the physical skills and all of that. I just, when I look at who she's beat and I put it against who Rose has beat, it's a big difference to me. Wei Zhang, Andrade, Joanna. Right. So to me, I just feel like the skill sets are on different playing fields right now. And again, I love Carla Esparza, the Cookie Monster. Who doesn't? She's classy. She's a great fighter. She's the type of person that, if you've got a young daughter getting into MMA, you want your daughter to look up to her. But, Zhonyan Jian, yeah, that was a nice win, but I'm not quite certain how good she is, compared to like the champion, Marina Rodriguez. I mean, Michelle Waterson, that was a split win. I just feel like Rose, this is her fight to lose. I just think that she's the better fighter. And at this point, I would be shocked if she doesn't win this.
Well, I'm taking a shot on the dog here on Carla Esparza +175, +170. I actually kind of want to wait a little bit more, see if more money comes in on Rose. I just feel like Rose should not be over -200 against Esparza, especially so that her weakness is her takedown defense. We've seen time and time again that she gets taken down, she gets controlled. Zhang had a takedown in every single round, and Zhang's not really a prolific wrestler by any stretch, nor is she a controlled grappler either. If Esparza gets you down, she's probably keeping you there for the entire round. I don't see Rose having too much success getting back to her feet or playing guard. So she's going to have to stick and move the entire fight, which she could do. But I feel like eventually Esparza's taking her down. I don't see Rose getting the finish either. So I feel like this is going to be a very close fight, close decision for either fighter. And I like the plus money on Esparza, +175, +170. My sweet spot is +200. I'm not sure if we're going to get there. I think it'll probably end up around +185, +190. It's still good for me. I might lower my units a little bit, but I definitely am looking for +200, but I still think she gets it done. And this would be the first time she's actually in a rematch. She hasn't won the first time. So I'm gonna be, actually, no, I'm sorry. This is the second time. So my mistake. I realized that she lost to Andrade the first time I beat her. So Rose on the rematches, yeah, that's right. That's kind of hard to go against too. But I'm going Esparza here.
Yeah, I'm going Rose all day, man. I think she's a champion through and through. I'm really excited for this one. Let's slide to the next fight, which for a lot of people might be the most exciting fight of the night, maybe, potentially. It could end up being fight of the night. I mean, Michael Chandler and Tony Ferguson. Good God. I mean, Michael Chandler, he is a massive favorite. Last time I saw it was almost -400. Tony Ferguson +290. This is just who doesn't love watching both of these guys fight, right? But I mean, Michael Chandler, he had that amazing fight with Gaethje where they just put on a show. Prior to that, he loses to the champion, Oliviera, where he has the champion massively, massively hurt. Big time. If Chandler's fight IQ, and don't get me wrong, I'm not questioning his fight IQ. He's an amazing fighter, but he made a mistake in that fight. He could have capitalized and finished that fight and beaten Charles Oliveira. He could be the champion. He could have at least had the belt. So I just feel like Michael Chandler right now, and I go back to what I said between Rose and the Cookie Monster. I just feel like right now he's still kind of going like this. And I think Tony's going the opposite direction. I feel like he's past his prime. He's had so many wars with all these different fighters, throughout his tenure in the UFC. I mean, and again, when you look at who he's losing to, Gaethje, Oliveira, so similar opponents there, Beneil Dariush. But, you go back to the guys he's beaten prior to that. I mean, Anthony Pettis and Cerrone were great in their prime, like, 8 years ago. I mean, Kevin Lee's been released by the UFC. That was a nice win over RDA, but that was back in 2016. So I don't really know what Ferguson has left. If he comes in here to this fight and doesn't look like vintage Tony Ferguson, I mean, I think we're looking at a guy that's going to be maybe main eventing the undercard at some point soon, because he's just starting to slide a little bit. And I hate saying that, but that's just kind of how I feel. And so, I mean, yeah, you could take a bet on Ferguson, who's a monster underdog here, but you're taking a risk, in my opinion, because I don't expect him to win. I think Michael Chandler's power, his speed, is going to be the difference. And Ferguson has shown that he can get cracked and he can get on, I hate using that analogy. There's a term, something street, like I'm not going to say it, but like he can get there where he's in trouble. And I just think this is Michael Chandler's fight. I don't see him losing it. I don't think he's going to put him out, but I think he's going to TKO him. I think the ref's going to step in, stop Tony from taking too much damage. And I would say probably late second or third round.
I'm definitely on Chandler here. I do think it's going to be a competitive fight. I think it's going to be a stand-up fight. I think it's going to be a fun fight, great fight. It's going to be a back-and-forth battle for 15 minutes. I just think Chandler is going to be too much for him. He's going to throw the better shots, the power shots. He's going to mix in some takedowns, as he should, because it's very easy for him to take down Ferguson at this point of his career. And I feel like he skates away with a 30-27 decision win. I don't think he puts him away. I think Tony's still durable. He doesn't get finished on the feet normally, unless you go 25 minutes with Justin Gaethje, and he wasn't really knocked out. He was just not answering back as he's getting punched in the face. But yeah, I think Chandler gets it done. I like Chandler to win by a decision, which is plus 250. I like the over 1.5 rounds at minus 165. The over 2.5 rounds at plus 125 is not bad either. The fight goes the distance at plus 150. I feel like this is going to go deep into this fight. I think we're going to have a back and forth fight, and Chandler gets it done via decision.
Okay. Well, we're both on Chandler, so we agree there. Let's slide to two guys that basically have more performance or fight of the night bonuses than anyone on the UFC roster combined, probably. Donald Cerrone, Joe Lauzon. Cerrone's a small favorite, minus 170. Lauzon's at plus 150. Donald Cerrone's lost a lot in a row, but I feel like this is a fight that is kind of, I don't want to say the UFC is giving him a layup, because that's definitely not the case. Joe Lauzon's legit, especially if it goes to the ground. But I just think that Donald Cerrone's stand-up skill set and how slick he is on the ground. I mean, Cerrone's pretty darn good on the ground himself. I just feel like the stand-up is going to be in Cerrone's favor here against Lauzon. And I think that's where this fight is going to take place. I don't think it's going to be on the mat most of the time. I think it's going to be a stand-up fight. I like Cerrone because of that. So, the underdog Lauzon, I'm not too confident putting some money on him. I think Cerrone is going to snap the skid here and get back on the winning track. Probably a decision.
Yeah, I feel that way too. Mind you, I'm not going to bet on Cerrone because of, it's 2022 and it's Donald Cerrone. I'm not going to bet on Cerrone, let's put it that way. But I do think he gets it done here. I mean, arguably, this is the easiest fight in the last, 5+ years for Cerrone. I mean, it's been a while since he faced somebody that's not top tier. And, in Lauzon, he hasn't fought in 3 years. He didn't want to fight during the pandemic because he didn't want to get COVID, the whole thing. And then he just takes his last fight against Donald Cerrone. So, going in, he's done after this fight. We don't know if Cerrone's done, but I would like to say he's probably done too. But going in, Lozon is definitely 100% done after this fight. He only came back to fight Cerrone, get that paycheck, fight in front of the fans, and be out. I got Cerrone winning. It's not going to be. I don't think it's going to be a great fight. Let's put it that way. I don't think it's going to be a very entertaining fight either. I'm not sure why Donald Cerrone and Joe Lozon in 2022 is on a main card of a pay-per-view, but here we are. So I got Cerrone winning that.
Yeah, I think it's just like for the hardcore fans, you know what I mean? Like these guys are fan favorites that have been around for a long time. So why not throw them in there together on the main card and put something together that's nostalgic for all of us junkies that have been following this for a long time. Another, he's a legend, really. I mean, is Shogun against OSP. I mean, Shogun's 40 years old now. Another guy that's been in a lot of wars. He's an underdog, almost plus 200 for this one against OSP, who's minus 240. And, OSP is tall. He's long. He's super athletic. He's much younger. I feel like this is a fight that he should definitely win. But Shogun is just one of those guys that even at his advanced age and fighting years, all it takes is one. And if he cracks you, you're in trouble. And OSP has shown the ability to get cracked and be put out. I mean, his last couple of fights, I mean, he lost to Tanner Bozer, to Jamal Hill. Ben Rothwell was a split decision. He had a nice win over Alonzo Benefield, but OSP is one of those guys that can get put out. So this is a matchup for me where it could be Shogun's swan song. Maybe he gets a win here, gets a finish, and then he rides off into the sunset and retires, because it's not like he's going to be making a title run at any point soon. That's not going to happen. So this is just one that I'm staying away from. Like I could see it going either way, but my gut tells me we could see something special from Shogun, just to take us back to yesteryear with a vintage KO. But we'll see. It's a coin flip to me, Garrett.
Yeah, I don't like the odds, but I'm pretty confident that OSP gets it done. I mean, it is Shogun in 2022. And this is another fight that I'm perplexed as to why it's on a pay-per-view main card in the year 2022. I know it's Shogun. I know he's a legend, but this man is a couple fights removed from tapping 2 strikes to Paul Craig on the mat. Where do people tap 2 strikes by Paul Craig? That's no. And then on top of it, his last win was back in 2020 against Rogerio Nogueira. Rogerio Nogueira is the last win he's had in the last 4 years. Another guy who's a dinosaur, just like Shogun. So, and then OSP is also coming down from heavyweight to his natural weight class of light heavyweight, where he's actually in pretty good shape. I think he's a better fighter right now. He's a younger fighter, and he's probably in the better shape of the two. And I think it's only going to take like one punch from OSP to get it done. The only thing I don't like, OSP is super low volume, is nothing to behold. We can get this kind of slow type of fight between these two because, they're kind of older. They don't throw a ton of volume, and they're just going to kind of try to counter one another for 15 minutes. That's where I kind of don't want to lay minus 235, even though I do think he gets it done. It's hard for me to see OSP lose to Shogun right now.
Yeah, no, I think I'm with you there. And you know what, to go back on what you just said, you mentioned Nogueira. Is it bad that anytime I hear Nogueira mentioned, all I can think about is Chael Sonnen saying that he saw the Nogueira brothers trying to feed a bus a carrot? Like, one of the funniest lines. Like, I miss Chael just being, he should be sitting next to Joe Rogan in every UFC broadcast.
He should.
He is the man. But this is just one of those fights where, again, like you're right, OSP should win this fight. But Shogun, he has that one hitter quitter. All he has to do is lay one on you, and it could be night. So again, if you're putting a DraftKings lineup together, or you're betting, OSP is the safe bet. But if you're looking to make a little money on an underdog Shogun, he could pay out. He could get you this one. Let's move to welterweight. Chaos Williams, Randy Brown, really interesting matchup. Minus 125 Chaos, and Randy Brown is plus 105. Another really close fight. Dive into this one for us, Garrett. How do you see this one going? Who do you feel like is the safe bet here?
I'm actually looking forward to this fight. I think it's going to be a banger. I'm taking the underdog in Randy Brown here. I think he's shown that he's been progressing a lot over time. He's gotten a lot better. I think he's the more well-rounded fighter between the two. You know what you get from chaos. He's going to bring chaos. He's going to come forward. He's going to try to throw down and knock your head off. Where Randy Brown can stick and move. He's a taller, longer fighter. He uses his length very, very well, and he has underrated grappling, which I do think will play a vital role in this fight. I do think he could get it to the ground, and I think he could possibly submit him on the ground. To be honest with you, we'll see what happens, but I definitely got Brown here. I think he catches as an underdog for us.
Okay, I wouldn't mind that because his manager wants me to interview him after the fight. So I'd like to talk to a victorious Randy Brown. That would be fun. 125-pound division, Brandon Royval -240, Matt Schnell +195. To me, this one's simple. Matt Schnell just lost the UD to Rogerio Bontonorin, and Brandon Royval just won a decision over Bontonorin. So MMA math says Royval has to win, right?
Oh yeah, if we go by that.
But this is an interesting matchup. Both of these guys are very legit. They're both well-rounded. I just feel like Royval is a little bit more dynamic. He can just be a little bit more diverse with his striking skill set and should win a hard-fought fight here. I don't think he's going to put Schnell out, but I think the right guy is the heavy favorite here. I do see Royval getting the win.
Yeah, I got Royval winning as well. I don't like the line where it's at now. It's a little bit steep, but I feel like he's got more tools than Schnell, and he's very unorthodox, which is going to make it hard for Schnell because Schnell's very, textbook with his striking, very technical, but being as dynamic and as awkward as Royval is, it's going to be very hard for Schnell to really get any reads. And I do think Royval could take it to the mat if he wanted to. I think he's got some really slick jiu-jitsu. So if it does hit the mat, I could see him getting a sub. But I got Royval winning this fight, and he gets it done.
I got to ask you about my girl, Lupita Lupi Godinez. She's taking on Ariane Carnelossi. I don't know really enough about Ariane Carnelossi, Garrett. Do you know much about her, and what do you think of this fight and the odds for this one?
I think it's going to be a banger because these two girls come to throw down. I know, Lupi comes in and she goes for takedowns, but she's willing to stand there and trade, and Carnelossi is a little tank. They're about the same. They're the same height. They got the same reach, so no one's going to have the size advantage, but Carnelossi packs some power in her punches. She's extremely strong. She's one to come forward, with her Muay Thai striking and, just try to throw down, get in the face of Lupi, and that's what she's going to have to do. But I think Lupi is going to land a bunch of takedowns. She's going to control her on the mat and just do what she does best. And she's finally fighting somebody her size. I mean, this is someone identical to her size. You never normally get somebody her size, and I think she's a better grappler here. And we've seen Carnelossi get taken down by much lesser striker grapplers like Na Liang. So I do expect her to do well. And then, Lupi did well against another striker in Loma Lukbuni, who's a lot better striker than Carnelossi, technical wise, and a lot harder matchup, who's also another Thai striker. So I think she's already got the Thai thing going down. She already knows what Carlos is kind of gonna bring to the table. I got Lupi here. And -170 is not a bad price to be honest. But yeah, I got Lupi getting it done.
Okay, I love hearing that. We're starting to run short on time right now, but just take a look at the undercard, Garrett. Is there anything else, another fight that stands out to you that you feel like, the fans out there might be able to win some big money on a fighter that you feel like is a big favorite or a big underdog that you really like here?
I'm going to take Carlos Vergara at +300. I think that line is completely off. We're looking at Clayton Rodriguez, who's coming off, his great Contender Series win, but, that was the only decent opponent that he's faced in his entire career. You're talking about a guy that's fought in jungle fights, fought a bunch of nobodies that no one, really has ever heard of. And he fought, Frankie Edgar 2.0, but like the pint-sized version of Frankie Edgar. And he did well, but he was also twice his size. And his opponent took the fight on short notice, and, he looked good. But now he's going against a guy that's just the same height as him, same build, and, and Vergara has fought, stiff competition already. Coming into his second UFC fight, he already fought, in the UFC, recently as well. So, and then he went against Ode Osborne. He looked good in that fight. He was coming forward. He actually outlanded Ode in that fight too. So I think this could be a lot closer. There's no way that Rodriguez literally has to starch Vergara for this to look like he's going to be a minus 400 favorite. And I just don't see how Rodriguez is going to cover this price. This minus 400 price tag is ridiculous. People are thinking going in, he's going to look the same like he was on the Contender Series, which is absurd. He's not even going to look the same size comparison in that fight to this fight because he's not going to have that size difference. And it's going to be virtually the same. So you got Vergara that's going to come forward. He's going to put the pace. He's going to put the pressure on him. And I feel he's going to try to make this a phone booth type of fight. And I think Rodriguez is eventually going to get cracked by Vergara, and he's going to get put away.
Man, it really is a great card. Again, like right from the top, the two title fights, all the way down to the curtain jerker, the opening fight of the evening. There really is a lot of great matchups, and we didn't even talk about the heavyweight fight between Blagoy Ivanov and Marcus Rogerio de Lima. So make sure you guys tune in to ESPN Plus this Saturday, UFC 274, again headlined by Charles Oliveira and Justin Gaethje for the lightweight bout. For Garrett Kerman, I am Ryan Jarrell. Hope you enjoyed the show. Make sure you subscribe to the Vegas Odds YouTube channel.